Brainrot. I am proud to say I only knew some of it. It was Oxford's word of the year in 2024, that being brainrot. It's defined as the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state.
You've been hearing this word a lot. Usually as a joke, usually attached to something stupid enough to make the case for itself. But here's what nobody's telling you. Oxford didn't make brainrot their word of the year by accident. Regulators don't start calling infinite scroll addictive because people are being dramatic. And the platforms didn't build these systems to help you. This video is not about bad taste. It's about what happens when the most profitable media system in human history quietly trains your mind for compulsion instead of thought. And the terrifying part? It's completely legal. Let's establish something first. Brainrot is not a medical diagnosis. You're not going to find it in a DSM. Your doctor is not going to look at your MRI and say, "Yeah, that's the TikTok section." But Oxford added it to the OED anyway, because when a joke becomes widespread enough to describe something millions of people already feel, that's not a meme anymore. That's a signal. A perceived deterioration of intelligence and critical thinking linked to the overconsumption of trivial, unchallenging content. The joke got famous because it describes something real. Your job right now, as the viewer of this video, is to separate three things: the meme, the mechanism, and the measurable effects. Because those are three completely different conversations, and the internet has been having all of them at once, sloppily, for 3 years. Let's be precise. You've probably heard the objection. Someone always says it. They said novels would rot your brain too. They said the same thing about TV. And yes, they did. But here's what's different this time. Old media gave you a menu. You picked something. You watched it. It ended. You made another choice. The short-form feed doesn't give you a menu. It gives you a conveyor belt, personalized, bottomless, and moving faster than your ability to decide whether you actually want what's on it. This is where we stop vibing and start receding. Because the evidence is here, and it is not subtle. In 2025, researchers pooled 71 separate studies, nearly 100,000 participants, into a single meta-analysis on short-form video use and cognitive function. The finding: higher use was associated with poorer cognition, and the effects were strongest in two specific areas: attention and inhibitory control. Inhibitory control. That's your ability to stop doing something even when the reward system is screaming at you to keep going. Interesting feature to lose, given that the product is designed to be kept going. But it gets more specific than that. A 2025 study out of the University of Bristol looked at something called prospective memory, your ability to hold an intention and act on it later. You know this feeling. You open your phone to do something. You leave with 12 fragments of content and no memory of the goal. The study found that unlimited context switching, jumping between short clips without friction, significantly deteriorated prospective memory performance. The limited switching group actually improved. The feed doesn't just distract you in the moment. It may be interfering with your ability to keep a goal alive after you leave it. And then there's this one. A 2024 experimental study from Peking University found something that should make every product designer in Silicon Valley deeply uncomfortable. Watching short-form video predicted less analytic thinking, and the swiping itself, not just the content, was reducing users' tendency to think analytically. Not what you watch, what the interface trains. Swipe more, think less. That's not a critique, that's a finding. Now, and this matters, Brain rot is not a clinical verdict. Not every study here proves permanent, irreversible damage. Some of these effects are acute. Some are associative, not fully causal. The science is real, but it's early, and it would be dishonest to pretend otherwise. What is supported consistently across independent studies is impaired attention, reduced inhibitory control, degraded analytic thinking, and disrupted perspective memory. That's not nothing. That's your operating system. Here's the part the platforms don't want framed this way. Brain rot isn't a side effect the system accidentally tolerates. It is the cost structure of a product optimized for return behavior. Follow the logic. The feed makes money when you stay. Staying means low friction. Low friction means no pause, no decision, no reflection. Reflection slows consumption. Slowed consumption hurts watch time, ad impressions, engagement loops, and the quarterly numbers. Platforms do not make money when you are clear-headed, selective, and done. They make money when you are slightly bored, slightly compulsive, and never quite finished. The European Commission's findings are useful here because they're not some alarmist blog post. They're a regulatory body explicitly connecting addictive design features to a business model that resists friction by design. Even their proposed solutions, they admit, are easy to dismiss and introduce limited friction. That's the business model reveal. The feature is not a bug. The brain rot is not a side effect. It is the intended terrain. So what does this actually cost you? If you're studying, the feed trains you out of sitting with difficulty. Real learning requires staying with something that doesn't immediately reward you. That's the opposite of what your nervous system has been practicing. If you're working, Gloria Mark at UC Irvine has spent years measuring this. Attention on screens now averages around 47 seconds before switching. That's not laziness. That's a trained behavior. If you're trying to think, a normal sentence now has to fight like a circus act just to survive the first 8 seconds of your attention. And the deepest consequence isn't distraction. It's your boredom threshold. Normal life, a conversation, a walk, a moment of stillness, starts to feel understimulating. Not because reality got worse, because your reward system got expensive. Brain rot sounds like a joke. Business model sounds boring. Put them together and you get the actual story. Engineered cognitive fragmentation. The first thing the feed steals isn't your time, it's your agency. Brain rot is what it feels like when your attention stops belonging fully to you. When the choice of what to think about, for how long, at what depth, is quietly outsourced to a system that profits from the surrender. So what do? Not delete TikTok. Not read more books. Not touch grass. Those are exits, not solutions. The actual move is simpler and harder. Add friction back. Stop letting the feed have unlimited autopilot access to your nervous system. Treat short-form content as the powerful stimulus it is, not harmless filler. The feed was built to beat boredom faster than your frontal lobe can negotiate. You just found out it's winning.